Monster.
He's a monster now.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
Oh, this is okay. Pittsburgh accent. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's kind of got a little bit of New England.
Yeah, it's a
Twang to
hillbilly.
A monster.
It's a hillbilly. It's a hillbilly like
Massachusetts,
Philly, Massachusetts, Northeast thing. It's hill, but it's they're close enough to West Virginia where they have the hillbilly in them.
Does he ever say wicked?
No, that's a Boston thing, bro. That's wicked.
But like he
Wicked
refers to Najee Harris. Give the ball to Naj. And then when there was one, I mean, I watched these all things. They're so funny. But one of them, Najee Harris breaks a run. He's like, "Pick him up and put him down, motherfucker." Touchdown.
Right. So you watch this guy on TikTok
every
or
Sunday,
something?
man. His son's post on Reels, Instagram Reels. His son's sitting there posting shit. I mean, and this guy's one of those fans. He's an old school fan where he knows what the play call should be. They throw the slant. Why aren't they throwing the slant? He's always saying, throw the slant. It's always there. It's always open. Throw the slant.
Amazing.
But he's just that guy. And he does it for Penguins too. He'll record him doing watching hockey too. You know what I mean?
Damn. Let's start this thing up.
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ray from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thank you for joining us another week looking at all the things that are going on in sports. We do have, not only do we have the Pittsburgh Penguins guy talking Pittsburgh accent or whatever it was that we opened up the show with, but we also have the NCAA conference championships going on right now. SEC championship starts up on Thursday. We got the ACC and Big 12 starting today. Did I say ACC and Big 12? You're giving me the look.
I thought SEC starts tomorrow.
Oh, is it tomorrow?
Yeah, like South Carolina plays tomorrow, right?
Oh, okay. So SEC starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then ACC and Big 12 are starting up tonight, which is Tuesday night. And then through the weekend, ACC and Big 10 are going to have or Big 12 are going to have their tournaments or their finals on Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday.
SEC,
ACC, A10,
Big East are going to be Sunday.
Big East is Saturday. The Big East is Saturday night.
Okay, and then
Sunday's the Big Ten. I know.
Selection Sunday is.
Yeah, I feel like the only one they play on Sunday is the SEC and the Big Ten.
Okay.
Like those bleed into Sunday because
Yeah.
whenever they do the announcements, like the Big Ten guys are still in their uniforms
Okay.
because the game just ended and they're doing the bracket thing.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, we got all the excitement going on this week with the conference champions. A lot of people are going to get their ticket to punch to the tournament, the big dance, as they call it. But you know what? We are Guys About Sports. Thank you for joining us, listening to the show. If you want to follow the show, you can do that, and you can do that through our Facebook group. We have a great Facebook group that you could join, and there's some good conversations going on in there. You could post in there. You could join some messenger groups in there as well. And then if you would like to, you can also check us out on TikTok and Instagram. And then the best thing to do is support the show. In our opinion, the best thing you do is support the show. And you could do that because this is free. We don't have advertising. Did anyone hear an advertisement before we got this thing going? No, we did not, right? So, dude, are you having a hard time with your microphone over there or what? We had it going for you.
I don't know what happened.
He's technologically
I couldn't hear myself breathe,
he's
so I turned it
technologically
off.
deficient over there.
Look, I'm having trouble
And
too.
then I'm like, I can't hear myself breathe, so
I'm
got
too
to be off. So then I turned it off.
good.
Then I really couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let y'all know the Venmo. If you want to go ahead and support the show, you can do that, and that is on Guys at the Bar Talking Sports at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. We also have a NCAA tournament challenge going on, and that's going to be a pool that we do. $15 to get in. You could have 2 brackets total, and if you want to join that, you can. Just hop in the Facebook group and look for the March Madness, and we will go ahead and let y'all join in that as well. So anyway, let's get this show started, shall we? I was listening to some sports radio the other day, right? And it's Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon or something. I'm driving out to Lexington somewhere or whatever, and I'm listening to a hockey game on the radio, right? And I'm like, this is impossible to follow. Hockey is a sport that is impossible to follow when you are listening to it because the announcers, as much as they're trying as hard as they can to interpret what's going on and give you a kind of, paint a picture of what's going on, because some announcers can really paint a picture of what's going on, I remember Florida Gators, I forget what his name was, but growing up I used to listen to the Voice of the Gators every Saturday, and you'd be listening to football games and stuff, and they could paint a good picture, but I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm going to make this a topic of the show. what is the best sport to listen to on the radio? Because we can watch a hockey game. You can follow the puck. I mean, I've heard hockey is great live. I've been to one hockey match in my life. Hockey is an amazing sport to watch live. But to listen to it on the radio, man, I was just like, oh, my God, I could not do it. Because you don't know what's going on. I don't know who the players are. They're saying this person has the puck and this person, the next, like 3 seconds later, someone else's puck, someone shoots it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just going so fast. It's such a fast sport. And it's hard to listen to on the radio. But there are sports that are great to listen to on the radio, and I was thinking about it. So give me some thoughts, man. What do you think about this?
So I'll tell you this. In Tampa, the Lightning play-by-play guy is fantastic.
Oh, is he?
Now, I will say, once I got down there and learned a little bit about hockey, but I learned the players, hearing him do the play-by-play, he made it sound exciting, like every breath he was going to speak was going to be a goal.
Okay.
But you're right. It can be hard to follow, but if you hear the names and if you know the names of the people you're listening, I mean, if you were a fan of the Lightning and you knew the Lightning starters and you knew when they had the puck, it's not bad to listen to, but football is probably football is the best to listen to.
You cannot be just a general fan listening to hockey for sure.
No,
because you got to know the names of these players.
Hockey is way too fast to listen to on the radio. Right?
Yeah,
it's too fast to even watch on TV, I think.
It's tough to watch on TV sometimes, especially if you're not an avid fan. Now, just like anything, if you become good at something, you are able to follow it well.
I was watching one the other day, and my wife walked in, and she said, "How you can't even see the puck?"
Yeah.
Right? She's like, "Where is the puck?" And I was like, well.
Which is amazing because in person you can track it like it's
right.
crazy.
So in person,
I mean, it's
hockey,
crazy, yeah.
Hockey's great in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But another one too. I mean, so baseball is as boring on TV as it is on radio.
Yeah, but I
mean, it is boring listening.
That's why my vote is for baseball.
It is. That's my vote.
You think so?
Because there's
Oh,
I mean, it's a lot of walking. It's a lot of standing around.
But
You can a commentator can can talk through that and kind of
listen to
set the stage and all that kind of good stuff, and
can't
just kind
do
of bore you to death.
I can't do it.
Yeah, think about if you're watching a baseball game, right? Actually, I'll start with a football game. You're watching a football game, and the announcer says, Jim Smith, quarterback, back. He's in the or what would I'm really bad at being an announcer, obviously, but he's gonna describe where the quarterback's at, right?
Yep.
He's in a shotgun position. He's got
Two receivers out
three
to
to
the
the left, two to the right.
Paints a picture.
One person behind, running back behind him, whatever. Like they're gonna describe that picture.
Yep.
But if he says the names of those players, and you're not, if you're just listening on the radio because you're driving down the street and you wanted to hear a game, but you don't know who the players are because you don't really follow football that much, it's a little bit tough. But with baseball, it's literally one person is pitching, one person is up to bat.
But it's
Jim Smith is pitching. He throws a fastball, and it's a strike.
The next 3 minutes, you hear them just talk about nothing until the next pitch is thrown. I mean, it's so.
I know, but it's very easy to follow.
Oh, wow.
Now, I really do enjoy listening to football games because I grew up listening to football games as well.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I do give credit to the strategy in baseball that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there's a whole strategy to everything they're doing out there, and I know that comes into play with a baseball game. And I don't get all that. I didn't play baseball, but they can kind of talk through that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and the announcers will. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of talking in between. Nowadays, though, there's a pitch timer, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you have? 30 seconds or something like that to pitch? 20
I don't
seconds?
think it's that much, actually. I think it's
25
20 or 15
seconds or something like that.
It's
Yeah,
quick,
it's
yeah.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
So they only have that much time, and then the next pitch is coming. So it speeds up the process of the baseball game a little bit, but still, it's one person pitching, one person hitting. There's a hit, and it goes to Joe Smith, who catches in the outfield.
I guess I thought your question was, what's the most entertaining?
Okay.
What's the easiest to follow? Yeah, baseball would be certainly easy to follow because it's.
Well, I did say what's the best sport
to me, and football.
I enjoy listening to football. So
I'll tell you this: if you're listening to your Auburn play-by-play, your Florida play-by-play, West Virginia play-by-play, they're calling the game like you want to watch it. You're excited.
Right.
They're excited.
Right.
They get all into it. But if you're listening to like Westwood One, where they do like the national broadcast, you might not get that same effect for football. Right. Like I have listened to part of the Super Bowl one time on radio. We were coming home from church when I was a kid, and they had it on Westwood One, and they were playing the Super Bowl, and it just didn't come across the same as listening to a WVU football game. You know what I mean? Because there's the hometown announcers always make it better, right?
Yeah. Now, same thing here. So I love listening to the Gators local football station or sports radio station, right? I don't know, Chris or Chopper, have you ever listened to the Auburn local radio station? Like, have you ever tuned into it here in South Carolina?
Well, yeah, but it's just like Mountain Man was saying. I mean, those guys are exciting because, they're on your side. They understand, the history and the traditions and they say what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Right. And so that makes it different.
You know what's great about like XM Sirius Radio is you'll either get, like, if Florida's playing Ole Miss, you'll either get the Florida announcer or the Ole Miss announcer.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss, right?
Yep.
They don't give you both, but at least sometimes
they will.
Sometimes they. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there has been times before where the Gators game will be on two different stations.
Yep.
But usually you're going to get one or the other. Like Alabama, I listened to a couple of their games before, and their announcers are really good too.
Yeah, I mean, Eli Goldfrey was like their guy for years.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for West Virginia, and back in the day when I was a kid, we had Jack Fleming. Jack Fleming was also the play-by-play guy for the Steelers in the 70s with Myron Cope, the terrible towel.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, he would do West Virginia games on Saturday, and I'm telling you, he just painted the picture so well. And the guy now we've had him for a long time, Tony Caridi. He is fantastic. He just makes you. He just like you said, he's on our side. He's seeing. We're listening to the game through his eyes as a West Virginia fan.
Right. Right.
Good or bad.
Right.
Because when it's bad, you can tell it's bad. You know what I mean? There's bias there. So
That's right.
Yeah, we had Mick Hubert. That was the guy for the.
I've heard of him. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he was good, man.
Yep. I know. I've heard of Auburn's too. I just can't think of his name. He's the one that called the pick six. When they had the kick six.
Yeah,
Auburn's going to win the football game. They had him on all the stuff.
Rob Bramlett.
Yeah, he had
Before him, it was Jim Fife, right? And Jim Fife was like crazy popular.
Yeah. But one last underrated. I mean, again, it's if you know the drivers, and I don't follow NASCAR like I used to.
Yeah.
But MRN did a fantastic job of calling a NASCAR race on the radio.
Oh, really?
Because they had announcers in every turn.
Ooh,
and they would pass it off to the cars in that turn and everything that was going on. I mean, one of these days, I mean, if you got time and you're bored, go to YouTube, pull up like a 1993 MRN broadcast of like a Dover race or something, and you're like, holy cow, those guys are good. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah, the sounds of the cars in the background, the announcers are screaming, and they're turning, they're super quick with what they say. You're like, holy shit, what's happening? They were, I mean, because back then, if you didn't have cable, you only listened to NASCAR on the radio if you followed it back then. Now, which is mainstream now. But so as a kid, I remember listening to that, and I remember they made 500 laps go by pretty quick the way they did it. So
interesting.
Are you a NASCAR fan?
I used to be a huge NASCAR fan. I still watch a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't. They've done so much stuff that they've just kind of. I don't like where it's gone. It used to be legit Chevys, legit Fords, and stuff like that. Now they're all kit cars, and it's just
they're all the same.
They're all the same exact car.
Who was your driver?
Mark Martin was my driver back in the day. Yeah.
There you go. Was he the M&M's car?
No, Mark drove. He drove years ago. He drove Stroh's Light. Then he had the Folgers number 6. Then he was the Valvoline number 6. That famous Valvoline number 6.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, towards the end of my fandom, he drove the Viagra car. He was number 6 Viagra car.
Did you just snort?
Made me snort.
Yeah. Then he semi-retired. He semi-retired. Then I picked up on Matt Kenseth, who drove the DeWalt 17, and then I just pretty much got out of it altogether.
Did you get a boner watching the Viagra car?
No. I know the jokes. Oh, he hit the wall hard and shit like that. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So anyway, but no, Mark was. Mark. I liked him. He was like the cleanest driver out there, and I don't know. Everybody respected him.
He wrapped up that race pretty quick, didn't he?
The man drove the car for 3 years, and no one remembers he drove Valvoline for like 6 or 7 years.
Gosh, that's hilarious.
Who was the M&M car then?
Well, it's been several people. So it was Ken Schrader, then it was Elliott Sadler, then it was Kyle Busch, and now there's no M&M's car.
There's no M&M's car?
I don't think so.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow. They got out.
I mean, NASCAR's become so... it's one of those things where the market crashed in 2008, and people could... if you turn on and watch a NASCAR race outside of Daytona, or maybe one of these tracks they only go to once a year, the stands are half empty.
Oh, they are?
And you remember, like from 91 to 2005, it was the best thing going. I mean, 300,000 people packing the stands.
America's biggest sport.
Well, and where's it most popular at? Like down here in the Southeast. And when the market crashed, people lost their jobs or the tickets went up. I mean, all that crap went up and people couldn't afford to go anymore. So And, then, of course, the sponsorships have gone. The sponsorships are ridiculous now. I mean, we're getting off on a tangent, but, yeah. So I used to be. To answer your original question, I was years ago, but not so much now.
Okay. I mean, they're still doing stuff behind the scenes because there's a lot. General Motors has a NASCAR team.
Rick Hendricks.
Or not a NASCAR team, but Rick Hendrick. But we do a lot of research and stuff in our company. There's a lot of job postings that I'll see up in Concord.
Yeah.
And they'll be posting about engineering jobs, like engineering for computers and computer systems and stuff like that. Aerodynamics, all kinds of stuff,
Well,
so they're constantly trying to make it better. But then again, when you're looking at those cars, it's like it's all the same, and it is kind of boring.
I will say this. I will tie it into sports. 99% of the pit crews now were former SEC football players, ACC football players. I mean, these guys are big son of a guns, and they played linebacker, they played tight end. They just didn't make the pros, Right. And that's who's changing the tires and picking up the gas. I mean, so it's kind of cool to see them translate into something like that.
Yeah, I've been up to the Hendrick Motorsports headquarters, and behind they have a place where you can have meeting space and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And behind the meeting space is where they do the training for the guys on the.
It's pretty big. It's big time.
Crews. And we could go back there and watch it. And they'll basically have one car. It'll pull up. They'll take the tires off as fast as they can, time it, and then they put them back on, and then they go around, and they just basically go around this little small circle and come back in about the same speed as they would if they're coming into the pit. Yeah. Boom, they hop in, and then the guys jump in. They just do that for like 4 hours straight.
Yeah, because that 1 second they mess up costs them the race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah, so they're just training pit crew guys the entire day.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to watch. You can sit there, and I mean, it's a real NASCAR.
Yeah.
It's loud as hell. And all you hear is, and then he'll stop, and then they'll freaking, do all that stuff. They're filling up with gas, and then they get it going back out there again.
And we talk about things you see in person, like when you watch a football game in person, you can see like the receivers being open. Or you watch a hockey game, and you can track the puck. When you watch a NASCAR race, and you sit on the front stretch, and you see them guys pull into a pit, TV, the pit stops 14 seconds look long. In person, you don't even realize they're in and out. It's that quick in person.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's fast.
Yeah, there's a whole science behind all that.
Yeah. But on TV, 14 seconds feels long. In person, it's like, man, they weren't even in there very long. And it's quicker in person. It's kind of neat.
They got Chris, the industrial engineer, over there sitting there trying to figure out how to make it more efficient, right? Is that what you would do in that type of world, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a single minute exchange of dies.
Probably should move on. It's a little too much NASCAR.
That is a little too much NASCAR. Yeah, Lady Gamecocks win the SEC championship. Now they had a down year. I feel like.
I don't think that's fair, man. I think last year.
The competition's gotten better.
I was going to say last year everybody talked about how great women's college basketball was, and it was because you had personalities. You had Angel Reese pissing everybody off. You had Caitlin Clark who pissed people off. But this year, the parity. This is the best year in my opinion. I mean, you've got legitimately 10 teams that can win it.
Chopper, have you watched any of these women's basketball games?
I did. I watched the Texas-South Carolina game.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Was that the final?
Yep.
Oh, was it?
Now, Texas beat them this year.
But not in the.
No, I know.
Not in this last one. South Carolina dominated.
But I mean, those two teams out in California, USC and UCLA. Oh boy, I mean,
USC and UCLA are.
Oh my, and UConn's back. They're back.
Yeah, I mean, UConn destroyed the Lady Gamecocks.
Yes, they did
earlier in the season.
Yes,
so
I think this is a good. I think that tournament's gonna be fun. I really do.
It is, and I like where South Carolina's sitting right now.
Me too.
I love that. You don't want to be
sleeping giant.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah. You're coming out of the SEC tournament hot.
They remind me of those Duke teams that just found themselves in the Final Four. Like, this is the year Duke gets knocked out in the second round. There they are in the Final Four. They just got that feeling to them.
Right. That's right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It should be good to watch them in the women's tournament for sure.
Yep.
Favorite story from the mid majors. I know. I haven't watched any of the games. In all honesty, have you watched any of the games, Chopper?
Mid majors.
I've been following them through ESPN and so forth. I've been looking at the scores and so forth, but I haven't watched any of the games. So
I watched some of Furman Wofford last night.
You did.
I did.
Wofford won, right?
Wofford dominated the game.
Did they? Do they look like they're a team that can probably pull up a Cinderella story in the?
I'm not. No. Okay. Not this year.
They're not dominating.
No.
I mean, they're
good.
Yeah, them and Furman were both kind of Cinderellas in that tournament. They were 6 and 7 seeds. They weren't top seeds.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, I mean, so they're probably looking at a 15, maybe a play-in game.
Yeah.
It's exciting though.
It is exciting. They're not going to be like a Davidson.
No, of course not. Or Gonzaga back in the day.
Back in the day, they're not going to be like that. I didn't see any players like that.
Yeah, and you'll know it, right? You'll know if you see it. Like if they had that 7'12" or 7'11" dude sitting there just blocking everything,
or a guard that can just shoot,
and a guard that just shoot threes, like like nobody's business.
Like John Morant.
Yeah, then you might have that upset, but you can tell. There's certain teams that you can tell, and other ones you can't. What is your favorite story from the mid-major?
So I've been watching the hell. I do this every year, by the way. Those tournaments, and again, I go back to when I played ball, played basketball. Tournaments were like the thing, right? That was who can win the tournament, and it was so in that gym. I mean, I don't know. I just loved tournaments. They didn't always fare very well in them, but I love those small tournaments. I mean, them guys are playing like here. Wolford and Furman are 6 and 7 in that. The best team in that conference isn't getting to go to the end. I mean, all season long, they dominated, probably had 23, 24 wins, and they're not going to the NCAA tournament because they failed in their, it means that there's a lot on the line. Whereas the SEC, I mean, Florida, Auburn, Alabama can all get beat in the first round. Doesn't matter. They're going to be top. They're going.
Yeah.
Maybe you get that Cinderella like NC State last year, just won the ACC out of nowhere, and that's kind of cool. But that don't happen very often in the Big Boys Conference. So, but I'm telling you, High Point, what? Watch out for High Point. Those guys can shoot. Yes. I think High Point could be dangerous.
So people are saying that. I've heard a couple of people say that is kind of like their little dark horse that's in the tournament.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously Drake's going to be a dog.
Yeah.
They've been good for a while. But
UC San Diego is supposed to be really good. I don't know how they're doing in their little tournament yet.
I haven't checked. I'll tell you the one's interesting. Bradley and Drake. Bradley might still get a bid. Both of them two teams are very good. Drake beat them, obviously, but I mean, I think Bradley could get an at-large, which would be interesting for that conference to get to. That conference is going to replace the West Coast Conference as far as that small conference getting 2 bids. Because Gonzaga got one every year.
Yeah.
And St. Mary's, I've seen they got the other one.
St. Mary's and Gonzaga are in the finals
tonight.
Yep.
And St. Mary's swept them this year.
Yeah, St. Mary's is way better than Gonzaga, I think.
Yeah, but Gonzaga, I just feel like Gonzaga's going to make a run. I just have a feeling they're going to make a run.
Will they still make the tournament?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they're getting in. Reputation alone, they're getting in.
Reputation.
But I mean, because again, they
just a low seed.
They go out and play people, man. They are not afraid to play people.
Yeah, that's true.
They do.
Yeah, they're a really good tournament team.
Yeah, the thing about them is like
that conference brings them down a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like they'll be out, in the Sweet 16. Elite 8, they might make it there.
I mean, if they do this year, that's pretty good for them this year.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal for them this year. But even those years where they'll be ranked number 1 towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that it's just the fact that they're not playing the really tough guys at the end of the season. They'll play all those teams in the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, them teams get better acquainted with each other, and then they play in the. Yeah, I get you. You're right.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I just feel like that's not their benefit, but they're going to be in the quote unquote new Pac-12. So just as a basketball team.
Yeah, which is interesting because Oregon State and Washington State played in the West Coast Conference tournament this year, and I guess they're going to.
They did.
Yeah, they're going to rejoin the Pac-12 for next year, which is interesting. So.
That is interesting.
All right. Most like SEC tournament starts tomorrow. Most likely tournament team to win the tournament. It looks like Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. They're the ones that got the buys for 2 rounds, right?
Yep. One of those aren't making it to the Final Four of the SEC tournament. It just
yeah, I agree.
I mean, one of those will get tripped up.
Yeah, one of them's going to get.
It doesn't mean anything. I think first off, the damn conference is so deep. I mean, Kentucky can pick one of them off.
Right.
Ole Miss can pick one of them off.
Right.
Yeah. So
Texas A&M can pick one. Yeah. I mean, so
Ole Miss.
And again, let's go back to the way we remember our college football conversations. How hard are you really going to play in that conference championship game? Because the playoff means way more. Yeah. So are these guys going to, I mean, how's you're going to make substitutions when in any other time you probably wouldn't, kind of thing. Especially with Auburn, Broom still nursing that ankle, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Great point.
Curious, like, are the seeds already locked in there
yes.
for Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the only one that's in question would be if it was to go. We all know Duke's getting a 1 seed. It's happening, and Auburn's getting another 1 seed. So the other question is, will it be Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, or Houston? I think if it could.
Houston.
It could cost one of them to get a 1 seed if they get knocked out in the first or second, whatever round their first round would be, right? I think that would hurt if it's Alabama gets knocked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, I think Auburn for sure, Duke for sure, Houston probably, and then the other team's going to be an SEC. Was it going to be Alabama, Florida? It's going to be between one of those two.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, Auburn, Florida. I mean, I don't know. It does. I guess you said it doesn't really matter who wins the SEC tournament for those guys. It's Kentucky. It's Texas
Right.
A&M.
Who will make a big difference.
Those are the guys that are like, we have got to get in there and show out and win this thing because we want to be in the tournament as well.
If
right?
A&M and Kentucky, maybe I'm wrong about this, but if A&M or Kentucky win that tournament, they vault to a 2 seed.
They do.
Absolutely, especially A&M. I mean, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does now for a conference like the Big 12, so they have Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona State, or Arizona and Iowa State. Those are the 5 that are kind of like
They're locked. They're locked in.
Well, those are the 5 that are front runners as well
Yeah.
for their tournament. Is Houston going to play as hard as they can in that tournament as well? Then
I think they will because Kansas has dominated that conference tournament for years, and Houston has come in, and Houston's actually kind of been the bully.
they've been consistently
Yeah.
good for a while.
I mean, since they've gotten the Big 12, they've kind of bullied everybody.
yeah,
So,
even when they were AAC, they were pretty damn good.
yeah, they were fun. Yeah. So I think Houston would probably serve them to try to win this thing so they can get the 1 seed. Because if they were, it depends on what Texas Tech and Iowa State do because they're also borderline 2 seed kind of teams. They're not
Are
1
they?
seed. Yeah.
Okay.
But the Big 12 is another one like the SEC that's going to be exciting because it's 9-10 deep. It's deep.
Then we got the Big 10 tournament coming up, and that's going to be Michigan State, Michigan, Maryland. Those are the 3 kind of front runners in the
Where's
big
Illinois
conference
at?
right now.
Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. They're making some noise up in Chicago, baby.
Illinois.
I don't even know what's near Chicago. Actually, I think it's in the
Champagne. Not far, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Champagne.
Anyway, so but those are the teams that are leading the Big 10. Wisconsin, Wisconsin, UCLA, Purdue. Those are all 13-7 teams as well.
Oh, wow.
So those are teams that can possibly win this thing. Especially, hey, I want to make it into this tournament. Purdue, a team like that could probably do it. They've been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks as well.
Where's Oregon and Indiana at? Have they fallen off? I mean, I know Indiana was starting to make a little run there back in February, but I don't know if it.
Yeah, they're still
They're a bubble team?
They're still back behind those other these 6 teams that I've.
That conference could have the NC State this year, the team that gets themselves into the tournament because they won the tournament. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching that. I'll be watching just to see how Michigan State is playing, just because I know that they don't have the most stellar record. The Big 10 is not the most exciting place to play basketball right now.
Not anymore.
No.
In all honesty, I mean, it used to be. You used to have Michigan State was dominant every
Michigan,
year. Purdue,
Indiana, Purdue,
yeah, exactly.
Illinois.
Yeah, these are teams that'll
Wisconsin.
play.
Yeah, it all goes in cycles. It'll come back.
Oh, for sure. There's plenty of money there to bring the players in, and so
Yeah.
Right now, it's the SEC's year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Big
ACC
Ten
will be back. Big Ten will be back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Michigan. You know what they say? January, February, Izzo. January, February, Izzo, April. Have you heard that?
I have not.
Tom Izzo is the coach of Michigan State. When March
Okay.
rolls around, Izzo is money.
He is.
He's got a lot of Final Fours under his belt with
Yeah.
with Michigan State teams that frankly aren't as good as everybody else. But he's got 1 national championship and he's played. Maybe he's coaching a couple more, but he's been in the Final Four a lot with that Michigan State team.
That's right.
Okay.
Michigan State teams.
Yeah.
And he's done it sometimes with it seems like when he's like a 2 seed, he gets upset. But if he's like a 5 or a 4, he runs right to the Final Four.
Really?
And yeah, I mean he's Mr. March. He's always been that way since he's been there.
Would you rate them high on your in your pick'ems then?
It looks like they're a 2 seed, which scares me to death because historically I feel like they don't make it past the second round as a 2 seed. I don't know. I haven't watched enough. I'll be honest with you. That's one conference I haven't watched any basketball.
No,
It's just I can't. They'll play on Sundays at noon. I just can't. I mean, they're just not.
it wasn't even until recently that Michigan State was making a run where they were kind of like moving up in the ranks and stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like to me. Big East, not too exciting of a conference this year either. UConn, winning 2 national championships in a row. It's kind of hard to sustain.
Yeah.
A legacy like that. It's really hard to sustain something that far. Women's basketball, they used to be able to do it, but men's basketball is just so much more competitive. And women's basketball is getting to that point where it's more competitive as well. But it used to be UConn for women specifically. It'd be like they would win every single year no matter what, just because they were able to recruit the top 10 players in the country.
Yeah.
But now there's not just 10 really great players. There's like 200 really great players in women's basketball. But for the men's on the other side, the Big East, you got St. John's, Creighton, UConn, Marquette, and Xavier are all teams that can win the Big East tournament. St. John's is, I mean, they're good. I think they're ranked number 6 right now. They only have 4 losses this season as well. UConn just beat Creighton last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
UConn's that far down they played that early? Are you sure that wasn't women's last night? I think UConn.
Oh, that was
yeah,
women's last night. Sorry, yeah. God.
I feel like Creighton.
You know what? I double checked it too. While right now, I just lost it.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I even double checked that last night. I was sitting there watching the game for a second, or not watching. I was like watching the score going back and forth, and I was like, "Oh, UConn's playing Creighton, huh?"
Yeah.
See how that goes. Well, yeah, that was the women's. That's true. So, but yeah, I mean, St. John's going to run away with that conference for sure.
Maybe.
But then again, it just comes down to are these guys? Do these conference championships even matter then? I mean, to me, we're talking about it.
The Big East has always been, that conference tournament's always been the show. I mean, that conference tournament for even, go back to the years West Virginia was in it, even pre-West Virginia, when it was those Georgetown, Syracuse, St. John's, Seton Hall, that group, UConn. Right. To me, that conference always has a surprise. And I would not be shocked if St. John's doesn't win it. I wouldn't be shocked if Marquette or Creighton or you said Xavier. I don't know,
Xavier.
But I wouldn't be surprised if any of those don't pull off a win. That I will say, the Big East Conference tournament, it's at Madison Square Garden. It sells out. It's fun to watch. Those guys, it means a lot. It's almost, and now people are going to roll their eyes, but it's almost the equivalent of the football SEC championship. It just means something, in the Big
I
East.
don't know about that, but hey, it gives.
I'm
kidding.
It just means more.
Kidding. But it gives these championship games in tournaments gives a chance for a team to come out of nowhere, right?
Yep.
And get in and make the tournament, right? So that's big, right? And what Mountain Man said earlier in terms of Texas A&M going up to a 2 seed. That's a big deal for a good team like Texas A&M, right? I mean, they're going to be highly motivated to come in and win that tournament. The 1 seed's already in not so much motivated. The Kentuckys, the Texas A&Ms, the Ole Misses. I mean, they're gonna come to play.
Iowa State's, St. John's, Marquette's, probably.
I mean, I would say St. John's because
they need to win that tournament.
Yeah, if they win that tournament, they show that they're legitimately a number 2 seed.
I mean, I still don't know if they're going to give them a 2 seed or not. I still think they could be a 3 seed. Maybe.
Oh, really?
I mean, Joe Lunardi keeps putting them at a 4.
Oh, wow.
But maybe it's because they feel like the Big East ain't as strong as it has been in the past.
But I don't know.
I'm not saying I think that's fair, but Joe Lunardi's pretty good at his predictions.
So being hot in basketball is pretty important, right?
Yeah.
Like if you are playing and you're playing good, it's important to really win those games. I don't think that Florida or Alabama or Auburn, even though they're in the tournament no matter what, and Auburn, Florida most likely are going to be 1 seeds. I don't think that those guys play any less. I don't think they get out there and they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter that much, so I'm not going to play hard. Because being hot is important. And you want to go into that tournament saying, holy shit, we just won the SEC championship. We are on fire. We're going to go out there and win this whole tournament now too.
Yeah, but sometimes I know sometimes a loss.
It's not like a bowl game.
Right. Sometimes a loss is a good reset. Right. Like Auburn lost to Alabama. So, for example, Auburn lost the last game to Alabama. So they may go into that tournament pissed off and win the thing and ride that into the NCAA tournament. That's possible because they lost.
And I love that.
Yeah, they lost the last game of the season.
You don't want to go in number 1 in the nation, right? I mean, I think that's you just got a bullseye on you. So
yeah, it hasn't worked well when Purdue and Virginia both got the overall.
Right.
It did not work out well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's. I mean, I think that we say that these teams that are in the top seeds already aren't going to play as hard, and it doesn't matter as much.
No, I just mean like if
it matters way more to Texas A&M to win this tournament. I mean, South Carolina could win it. They're.
I mean,
they've won 1 or 2.
They won 2.
They've won
2 out of 3.
SEC
2 out of 3 SEC games are at the end. But.
Yeah, so they've won 2 SEC games. And imagine they just happen to make a run. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying, they all have a shot right now.
Yeah, well, the team that they're playing, Arkansas, could easily make a run, only because Calipari's he knows this stuff. I mean, I don't know if Arkansas is any good. It doesn't seem like they are, but who knows? They could be the NC State this year.
Yeah, all of these teams can. I mean, anyone in that conference. I mean, you said that there was a 6 and 7 seed that won.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
For Furman, not
Furman.
Wofford.
Yeah, Furman and Wolford. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And you got Delaware playing right now. They're a 12 seed in their conference tournament. They're playing in the semifinal.
Yeah, imagine
I mean,
right?
they were. I want to say they were 13 and 19 on the season, and they have a chance to make the NCAA tournament if they can win that game tonight and play tomorrow.
It would be insane, right? So AAC, sorry, they are playing as well. You got Memphis, Texas, North Texas, UAB, Tulane are the front runners, but you know what? None of those teams even matter, right? Well,
I wouldn't say that.
Will any of them or Memphis might make the tournament?
Well, the winner of that conference tournament, I don't know. Are they? I don't know if they're a one. I don't know if they're a one conference, one bid conference or not. Maybe two.
Yeah.
But I mean, Memphis is good.
Yeah, Memphis is good.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of those teams, I mean, Memphis has the best record, but
Yeah.
I mean, you don't hear. We have not talked about Memphis all year as like, oh my God, these guys are the
Right.
worst. Whereas in the AAC, you used to have teams like Houston, Cincinnati that would make these little runs, you know. Yep. But I mean, the
Definitely
AAC is
sneak
not
up on you.
Yeah, the AAC is not what it was before these other teams left last year or 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, although they have the Florida Atlantic was Florida Atlantic was AAC, right? They made the Final Four 2 years ago. So
are they AAC?
Are they either that or Conference USA?
They're Conference USA.
Conference. My bad.
Yeah, they're not
Conference
AAC.
USA. Yeah.
And then NC State fired their coach, Kevin Keats, 1 year after that Final Four run that they had. They won the ACC championship last year, and then they went to the Final Four, and that was exciting to watch. I mean, I was actually rooting for North Carolina State last year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like holy crap, these guys are like the one team that should not be there, and they are.
I don't know. Is there more to the story than just had a bad season?
Yeah, they had a bad season. They were.
Is that it though? I mean,
they were
it?
5-15 in the AACC. They were 12-19 overall. He had an $8 million buyout, and last year, after this happened, it reset his contract to 2030, and they still fired him. That's crazy, man.
Did he have a lot of seniors on that team last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was but I mean they were not expected to be they weren't expected to win the ACC.
They weren't expected
last
to.
year
Yeah,
at all.
the only reason they got in the tournament was because they won the ACC last year. Then they went to the Final Four. I mean, they were on a heater.
Oh yeah,
last year they just ran into Purdue, who was the second best team in the country last year.
Yeah, they were dominant, and
yeah,
that just amazes me that they would fire their coach. But I mean, things are what they are, right? You're not winning.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, part of it's contract. I'm sure it's contract based. Which is that fair? I don't know. I hate to see that happen because the guy did a hell of a job. What he did last year. I mean, the players play, but he had to do something right with X's and O's and motivation to get him in that. They made a hell of a run last year.
Yeah.
So we're still talking about it, right? So
we are. Yeah. Okay. ACC football. They settled something in court the other day. You want to hear what the story is?
Are they getting gypped on money again?
Okay.
ESPN?
So Florida State, Clemson, they both sued the ACC and said, "Hey, we want out." Blah blah blah. Right? There's some money going on and stuff like that. They're like, we're putting all the money into our programs, and none of these other teams are. So there's 4 teams in the ACC that put a lot of money into their football program. It's North Carolina, Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. Basically, are the 4 teams that put the most money into the coffers for their football program.
Right.
And they were suing. It was Florida State and Clemson. They were suing. Hey, we want out. We want more money or whatever. So the contract is now like this. 40% of the money gets split between all of the teams for any negotiating that they do on the for media rights, right? 40% of that money gets split among the teams, and the other 60% is going to be split based upon your winning percentage.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, and it's the only conference that's doing it right now.
To me,
SEC doesn't do it right now.
No.
Big Ten doesn't do it right now.
No.
And I mean Notre Dame gets all their own money, but
Yeah.
it allows these teams that are winning to put money. I think all of the conferences will.
It's incentive based. I mean, what happens if Wake Forest has a breakout year and is one of the top 4 teams? They should get money for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's to me that I think it's the way that you're going to go in the future with these football conferences. They're going to be negotiating that way.
Yeah. I like it.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's more to the story, but just on the surface, I like it. I mean, I guess the anticipation is those 4 teams will probably be the ones that get the money, but we don't know that. I mean, Miami could flop. North Carolina, I think so. I just don't. I'm not buying it. I've said it before. I have to see it to believe it with North Carolina.
I mean, based upon Florida State's record last year, they wouldn't have got much money this year. Then
North Carolina's schedule next year is pretty easy, right?
So yeah, I guess that'll be the question next year if they pull in Indiana. What's everyone going to say? You know.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I got burnt by Indiana. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're dumping a bunch of money into this football program. You should definitely get it. I mean, if you're looking at
What do they do? Pay for a schedule too? I mean, they got the softest schedule in the ACC, didn't they?
They do.
It was ranked the easiest schedule in the ACC.
That's right.
oh, they do really?
Yep, they do.
Now that is totally preseason. It could become the hardest schedule in the ACC. The teams that they're playing could be really good. You just never know. I'm sure Indiana last year looked at that schedule and didn't think it was that easy. And then Michigan fell apart. I mean, they just had a lot of things fall apart. Washington wasn't as good as everybody thought they were, and it just fell in their lap, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, relatively predictable that Washington wasn't going to be that good. They just lost their coach.
yeah, but I mean, Indiana was, who were they?
Yeah.
I mean, if we just sat here last spring and I said, who's going to win between Washington and Indiana? You've been like, Washington. Who's going to win between Michigan and Indiana? Michigan. You wouldn't have picked them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so it allows those teams to have a breakout season to really, you know, I mean, Georgia Tech last year, they were a lot better than they normally had been, right? So
They were gritty. I like them.
So they would have got a little bit extra money. You know, if SEC starts doing that, it'll give these teams more competition in order to say, hey, you know what? We're going to recruit better. We're gonna put our money where our mouth is with the players, so that we can make sure that we get some of that cash.
Well, it also puts it back on the teams. If you want to complain about not being in this conference, well, you ain't making the money because you ain't winning. That's your fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. 6% of our money is for you if
Yeah,
you win.
you can't collect it because you ain't good enough, and you want to go to the SEC. Come on, you know. So
Exactly. Let's see. So Justin Fields is going to the Jets after parting ways with Aaron Rodgers. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to end up?
looks like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a leak by a lineman or something like that mentioned it or something, but I haven't seen anything that was like solid.
So I got a good buddy of mine, it's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you know, and he's in the know. He reads all the Pittsburgh stuff, and it sounds like, and it makes sense because I've also read this on the side, that if they do take Rodgers, they're probably going to move up in the draft and get Jackson Dart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I saw that Mike Tomlin came out of the stuff in Indiana. Help me out here. The you know, where they got him up there weighing them and doing drills. Come on,
Combine.
yeah, the NFL Combine. That he came away.
You had me so confused.
I just could not remember.
Still a place where they weigh them and they run fast.
Yeah, you know, the cattle market. Anyway, but anyway, Mike Tomlin came away. That was his favorite quarterback.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So we'll see.
So Aaron Rodgers is going to train up Jackson Dart a little bit?
Yeah, that's the one thing I just can't. I mean, is Rodgers going to? I mean, I can't.
He
I don't.
needs to go with the Cowboys. Jackson Dart. You know, he sounds like America's guy.
No, don't go there. I want to like
Cowboys
Jackson Dart.
Quarterback.
Don't go to Dallas.
Jackson Dart. I think to Dallas.
Don't go to Dallas. Please don't.
He's the next American football.
Well, we'll just see.
Quarterback star.
We'll just see if he's a flame out like the rest of Lane Kiffin's quarterbacks seem to flame out in the NFL.
I mean, I think that Aaron Rodgers is kind of washed up at this point, and it's not going to make that much of a difference having him at.
No, but Aaron Rodgers is he's still a veteran, a Grizzly veteran, and if now that he has DK Metcalf with Pittsburgh and George Pickens, I mean that's two good receivers, and why not have him sit there while Jackson Dart takes a year to learn the system? I mean,
that's a good point.
We're kind of getting back to those days where the rookie maybe takes a seat on the bench for a little bit.
Yeah,
because I don't know. We'll see.
How is Justin Fields going to play out at the Jets?
I have a bad feeling. And I like Justin Fields a lot. I hate to see him go there.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's a disaster.
I think that entire football program is a disaster, right?
Yeah, I know everybody's excited about Aaron Glenn, but let me take you back about 10 years ago. Everyone was excited about Todd Bowles when he got that job, and it was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
No one has that until Woody Johnson sells that team. They're just going to be bad. You know.
Gotcha. Seahawks are going to be picking up Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it's kind of a
interesting place.
I can't believe Minnesota just didn't throw some money. I don't.
I mean, he had a good season.
Yeah, he had a really good season.
He just kind of buckled under the pressure of the playoffs, but I mean, they were playing good teams.
Minnesota lost to they lost 3 games last year? Or 4 games, 2 of them to the Rams and 2 of them to the Lions. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's not like they lost anybody else. I mean, it's just bad matchups for them. All.
I mean, who's the quarterback for the Minnesota next
J.J.
year?
McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy.
They're all in on him.
Yeah, I guess so.
He was going to start this year. Sam Darnold was a backup, was Plan B.
Yeah,
and look how that turned out.
And he's a Michigan guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just odd, man, that Minnesota's going to give up on Sam Darnold and throw him away like that. I mean,
Well,
but-
Seattle. I mean, we'll see how Seattle does. I mean, Geno Smith is a Raider now, so.
Okay. How's Sam Darnold going to play out at San Francisco in Seattle? Though you think he'll be a good?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I mean they lost. I mean DK Metcalf's gone. They have. I don't know. I mean Seattle's one of those teams. They're just kind of. I don't know if they're rebuild. I don't know much about them.
Yeah.
They just. I mean they seem to have been pretty decent with Geno last year.
Yep.
But I don't know enough about them to.
Okay. Is everyone excited about the March Madness coming up here next week or what, man?
It's my favorite thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, it's the best part of college basketball for sure.
It's the best part of sports.
It's
I
the
don't know
best part
about
of
that.
sports.
I mean, let's be honest. That week, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is just it's. I mean, from noon to midnight, all 4 days. I mean, come on. I mean, buzzer beaters, Cinderellas, heartbreak. I mean, the Super Bowl is great, and I love it too. But it's one game. And the NFL. I mean, the college football playoffs. In time, it'll build steam. Right, we're still trying to get used to it. But name something else that captures.
Captures the imagination.
People don't know
of
nothing about
America.
college, and they'll play the tournament bracket. They'll watch it because they don't care. They just want to see it. It's drama, man. I love it.
Yeah. You know what? I think I might have to agree with you on that. I mean, if you think about it, obviously September through January for college football is the best thing in sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion.
But for 4 days,
yeah.
what you get in those 4 days capsulate an entire basketball season.
Yeah, that first weekend of college basketball is insane.
Yeah.
In March Madness, and then the second week as well.
Sweet 16 gets
yeah.
down to the nitty gritty. That's where the real men
Yeah.
and women and the women's. That's where the real teams. The cream goes to the top.
But it is really enjoyable watching basketball from the time that first tip off is at noon. I think it's 11 o'clock, right, or 11:30 noon.
and that
something
first
like
game is always a buzzer beater or close
Yeah.
to it. Always sets the tone.
Yeah. And then all through that until Sunday. Like, it's really enjoyable, and there's a lot of basketball being played.
Multiple
during that
games
first
at one
weekend.
time. You got TNT, you got TBS, you got True, you got CBS. I mean,
What to watch? I would throw the Masters in there and
yeah,
all of that excitement as well too.
and that's
Super exciting.
the Masters. I mean, believe it. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, people who don't like golf like the Masters
Right.
because of the tradition, and it also feeds right off the NCAA tournament.
Right.
I mean, you go from the Final Four
Right.
to Thursday Masters. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
it makes the last 2 weeks of March and the first week and a half of April
Bearable.
bearable because then it's the dark days.
That's right.
I mean,
The
opening day
dark
of
days
baseball
are
is
here.
kind of cool, but it's not like then you're just waiting for the draft, and then you're depressed again.
That's right.
And then you get preseason camp opening up in July, August, and you're excited again. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, then I start watching. Then I'll start watching like the coaches. Every Monday they'll have their press conference. I start watching those.
Yeah.
like, around mid-July.
Yeah.
and they're talking about the practices. and
rookie
just like-
camp, yeah. You're like, gosh,
like
It's
just
just-
to watch something that has to do with football, man.
it just feels like you're on a
rough.
cross country trip, and you just keep reading the mile marker sign, and you just cannot get there fast enough. You know,
You know what's really exciting at the end of this month? The XFL starts back up.
Yeah, you're the only one excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 8 teams.
Who's your team?
The Washington, I don't know what they're called. I don't go for any teams, honestly.
Now let me get this straight.
It's the USFL, I think, right?
These teams play for a city, but they all play the games in one town in Montgomery, Alabama. Is that right? Isn't that how it works?
I think that they're playing.
Are they actually playing in actual cities?
Yeah.
this time?
So the first year that the USFL came out, or whatever, one of the two that merged together, right?
The XFL
They
and
play-
USFL merged together to make whatever it is called.
Yeah, so the USFL played all of their games in like Birmingham, Alabama, or
Yeah.
something like that, and there was 6 teams or 4
Chicago,
teams or something
Michigan,
like that.
yeah.
So now there's 4 teams from the USFL and there's 4 teams from the XFL, and they're called the XFL still. It's it's kind of like the the NFC and the AFC, right? It's called the XFL and the USL or whatever, USFL, and those are the 4 teams representing those 2 places, and they just play each other. But I honestly won't watch a single game. I was just curious if anyone else will.
No, I mean, yeah, wasn't Sprayer the coach of Birmingham?
No, he was this back in the day. They had some sort of American Football League or something like that
Right.
came out.
He
The
coached in
AFL.
the old
He coached
USF
the Orlando
Oh,
some team
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Because before that, back in the 80s, he coached at the USFL, the Tampa Bay Bandits.
Oh, he did?
Back in the 80s, back when the USFL actually made a run at the NFL, and Herschel Walker and all those guys played. John Jim Kelly and Warren Moon, those guys. But that's back in the 80s. But
Yeah, I
I
think
forgot
like-
he came back and did coach a team.
Yeah, so he left Carolina, and then 2 years later, I think it was 2014, is when he coached the Orlando had a team.
Orlando had a team.
It was only like one season or at best, and his son used to live across the street from me, right over here in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he moved down there to be one of the coaches on that team.
Because
as well.
Bob Stoops was a coach too, right? Of a team. There was a couple of guys they pulled out of.
Skip Holtz.
I think June Jones.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think there was a lot of guys they pulled out. Just
I didn't watch a single one of those games either. I think I watched for a minute one of the Orlando teams just because I liked Steve Spurrier. But yeah, I mean, they're all flops, man. People are not, as much as we love football, I mean, I just won't even give it a chance, dude. I don't know why.
it's just the timing. It's just
Do you think it's the timing?
yeah,
Is it
spring
just-
football. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
There's no tradition around it.
No, I mean, spring football is just. I don't know. I mean,
You
it's just spring. I don't know. Something about spring football doesn't get me excited.
It's not cold.
It's not your normal. It's not what you're.
We're just programmed that when the leaves turn and the weather gets crisper, depending on where you live, it's football season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's got to be what it is.
It's like if you played baseball in the winter. I don't know. Maybe I'd watch it more because you're inside. And
And the thing is
I
like
don't know.
these teams though, they're going to have relatively good players, right? It's going to be like watching a Big 12 game every week.
What does that mean?
It means that Big 12 doesn't have like the top talent in
Why do you always
country.
pick on the Big 12? We're
Okay.
better than the ACC.
Okay. It's like watching an AAC game every weekend.
It's like
right?
maybe how about ACC?
ACC. Okay, it's like watching. Yeah, it's like watching
Jeez.
Pittsburgh. It's like watching Pittsburgh get beat by North Carolina State. Right. It'll be like watching one of those games every single week when you're watching those the XFL team, but because you're gonna have the same kind of talent on those teams. So why can't we just get into that league?
I think if
I'm gonna start a podcast based upon this.
if
Big
those
12
if that league
just means more.
if that league became a NFL feeder system, like if you were watching like minor league football, I know the G League doesn't get any traction with the NBA, but the NBA is another animal. But if you found out like that league is going to become the NFL feeder, you might, especially you're not an NFL fan, but if the Commanders owned one of those teams, and I know I might see my future, or maybe one of those guys get drafted late and they go play there.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, okay, But
they're not.
they're not. I mean, now a lot of those guys will get picked up. A lot of those guys do end up playing. They end up getting picked up, but it's just not the same.
I mean, it's different in football because, like, if you're playing every week and you're just getting beat the crap out of, like baseball, you can have a long career in baseball.
Well, yeah, I mean, it takes some of them 5 years to even make it.
Yeah, but if you're playing football, you're gonna get beat up every week. So
Right. So many levels in baseball too, right?
yeah,
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you get drafted
Oh.
in high school, then you might play college, and then they're going to take you, and then you go play in single A ball, and then you got double A and triple A, and then they might send you up at the end of the baseball season because the team stinks and they want to see how you do, and then next year you got to prove yourself again in fall ball to go back to triple. I mean, it could be 3 or 4 years for you.
Right.
These rookies are 25, 26 years old, and they've been drafted since they were 19.
yeah.
I mean, baseball's tough. Baseball, if you make it, you made it in baseball. There's no pretending. You know what I'm saying?
It's really tough to get to the major league.
There's none of that Shedeur Sanders stuff. I'm going to hype my way into something. In baseball, you have to be dedicated.
Yeah,
Even your top draft is going to ride a bus in the middle of nowhere to play a single A game in some podunk town, like the Grasshoppers or the Gnats or some name like that.
Fireflies.
The
Fireflies. I mean, I'm just
Let's
saying.
glow.
I mean, at least I'm just saying. Those guys have to do that. They have to pay their dues. There's no, I'm going to hype myself into the number 1 draft pick and go straight. I mean, it ain't going to happen.
Are the Savannah Bananas? Are they not literally major league anymore? They're just kind of like the.
Aren't they like the Harlem Globetrotters? Of
yeah, they're like
baseball?
the Harlem Globetrotter of minor league baseball.
I'm assuming
right?
some of those guys just didn't make it in baseball, and they were good enough, but they couldn't make it. And
But they could do a TikTok dance, so they're fucking ready to go.
I mean, they're good enough to play baseball, but they can also have fun. They do a lot of cool shit. Like
And they could walk on stilts while they're playing baseball.
But their games are. I mean,
they don't mean nothing. They play the same. They play the same. They have like the generals for them too.
oh, okay.
Oh, they play the same team. Every
I don't
week as
know if
well?
I'm asking. I've never seen them. I know that they'll play the Fireflies. I don't know if they do.
They
it to
will.
keep,
They will play the Fireflies.
Yeah, they do play the Fireflies.
I don't know if they do that to keep their
Really?
skills sharp and then go do the clowning stuff later on, because Like the Globetrotters would play like an NBA team and then keep their skills sharp. And then they would do all their shenanigans with the Washington Generals and the fake referees and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
I don't. Again, I could be totally wrong. I don't know if that's what the Bananas do. Do they have a Generals team they play every time?
No idea.
I don't know. I think it'd be fun to go watch.
Are they the feeder team for like the Oakland A's or what?
Who, Bananas?
I don't know. I'm just asking, man. I mean, we got to talk about something on Guys that are the bar talking sports.
I don't know.
Man.
I mean, I would love to go.
Slow
to see
week.
There was an auction for those in the polar plunge auction for go see the Bananas play.
Yeah,
Tickets are hard to get.
They are hard to
they're
get.
very hard to get. I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they really based out of Savannah?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I just didn't know. If
I
that was
watched the story of the. So they were just a regular minor league baseball team back in the day,
Right.
And then the owner came and he's like, you know what? We gotta figure out some.
Jackie Moon.
This dude just bought the team. And he's like, I gotta figure out some way to get these people to freaking watch the sport because the stands were empty.
Like Jackie
So
Moon from
He started wearing all yellow,
the Flint Tropics.
and then they named the team the Savannah Bananas, and they went crazy, man.
In the
And,
third inning, we're going to wrestle a bear.
In the era of TikTok, dude, the Savannah Bananas really took off. You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that owner's smart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's genius. I don't know if, again, are those guys, are they still playing to get a contract? Or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works in this
they're
day.
stars in their own right now, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
At what point do you just say, you know what? I'm just okay being a Savannah Banana for the rest of my.
To be honest with you, it might pay pretty
it
good.
might pay good, yeah. If you could do the right TikTok dance on the mound.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean,
You know?
obviously the tickets are hard to get. So first off, they play in small venues. It's probably expensive to go.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Like, where else are you going to find a baseball player that could also walk on stilts
Right.
and bat on stilts and then run the bases
You're
on
just a
stilts?
straight up entertainer.
Or have five pitchers, but only one of them has the real ball. I mean, they got there's a Harlem Globetrotters.
Hold on, they did have one like that?
Yeah, I saw it. One of the videos. They're like, well, "Who has the ball?" And the batter gets mad, and the umpire's all confused, and then they start playing hide and seek. It's like this is the Globetrotters of baseball. You know what I mean? The video I saw, I don't know, but
I might have to watch.
yeah, Google them, man. I mean, I'm not Google them, YouTube them.
Okay.
They have a lot of stunts. I mean,
The Savannah Bananas, man. I'm telling you. Watch out, dude. They might they might start, like, remember the XFL? The NFL kind of took up some of the shit that the XFL was doing.
I cannot see the Yankees having a guy on stilts.
No.
No, I mean, Major League Baseball is hard to fucking watch, right? So maybe they'll be like,
Well, according to
we
you,
gotta do
according to you, it's great to listen to on the radio.
yeah. All right. With that said, man, hey, thanks for coming out and doing the show with me, and we appreciate. Oh, do we have any? Does anyone have a what the fuh? Does anyone have a what the fuh? I know Cheeks had a good what the fuh this week, and she said that she couldn't make it.
Yeah, I don't
so.
have one.
I don't
It's
have
just-
one,
it's
but I
just
will say that
Me, Chopper, and Mountain Man, and we never have what the fuzz.
I will say St. Francis is 1 minute and 53 seconds away from punching their ticket.
9th ticket to the finals, or seventh
7th.
ticket to the finals. All right, St. Francis. Keep an eye out for those boys. 15 seed.
I don't know. They're only up by 2, so
Okay,
but they've been winning the
Maybe
whole
not.
time. So we'll see.
Who are they playing?
They are playing Central Connecticut State.
Ooh, man.
That is
I went to school in Connecticut for a year, and a lot of the kids that I went to school with, they said they were going to go to Central Connecticut State.
I think that is a 1 versus 4. And I want to say Central Connecticut is the 1. So
Nice. All right. Well, hey, listeners, thank y'all for joining us for another week of Guys at the Bar talking.
sports.
See ya.